All right, folks, today we are going to be discussing nostalgia and how games companies seem to be selling it back to us. Nostalgia, it's delicate but potent. Teddy told me that in Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound. It's a twinge in your heart, far more powerful than memory alone. This device, and he's talking about the product he's selling, isn't a spaceship. It's a time machine. It goes back and forwards. It takes us to a place where we ache to be again. It's not called the wheel. It's a carousel. It lets us travel the way a child travels, around and back home again, to a place where we know we are loved. And that is a very, very apt way to describe nostalgia. And it's a completely off the topic ramble. I know you guys like to sometimes listen to these whilst you're at work. I have people message me. I'm in my truck and I like to listen to this on the way to work or at lunch. So this is just going to be an off the topic ramble. The reason this video has come to be was I finished Halo Infinite and the campaign. The full review is out on YouTube if you're interested in that. Leave a comment, leave a like. Trying to grow the channel, and it's very, very difficult with long form content. So if you do appreciate me taking some time out and having a quick chat with you almost each and every day, I appreciate it. There's going to be throughout 2022 videos appearing at 7 p.m. GMT. I'm not going to have a schedule of, hey, it's every Monday, every Friday, but I will say that if you check the channel at 7 p.m. GMT and there's a video, woohoo, and if there's not, then check again the next 7 p.m. GMT. I want to at least get some kind of regiment going. All right, so the main point I was trying to make that kind of maybe got lost in translation later into the video was the simple fact of there are a lot of companies these days completely peddling nostalgia to you and repackaging it, tweaking it a little bit, repurposing it, selling it back to you, adding a shopping, and then later on seeing that their product is tanking in terms of just viewership across like social media and player base, and they never seem to address that. They just slowly let it fall off and die because they know nostalgia is like this drug, feels brilliant at the start, gets all the hype up, and then it fades. And you'll notice a very, very key thing when you think about all of the games, probably at least for me, that have lasted the test of time, that have lasted that 10-year period of these sort of franchises, which I go on to speak about in the video, is they all did something innovative at the time or provide a unique experience each time. And what you're going to find is these nostalgia-based games, these like modern, say, Halos, Splitgates, these I don't know how you would call them, Resident Evil remakes, all these kind of remakes and remasters, they never maintain their position as a top game for the simple fact that once that nostalgia is worn off, what have you got? You're left with an empty shell. Whereas these other games, which I'm about to list, for example, they provide a unique experience each time you go and play. Here are the top games, let's say, for example, on Steam. Global Offensive. This is a defuse the bomb, search and destroy type game, multiplayer online. Each game is different. Each match is different. There's a high skill gap, which allows you to do something each game that may be different from the last. Dota 2, very similar. PUBG may be the biggest game in the world in terms of mobile in the Western audience these days. But what it did was it created the Battle Royale genre, popularized it, and it was a super intense strategy-based experience. And when you go back on PUBG, you feel like, oh, I'm the last man. It's a 1v10 situation. You're not sliding around and nipping around and doing all of crazy stuff. You are trying to survive. You feel like a soldier in a battle, and it's unique. Therefore, people keep coming back to it. Apex Legends, the same. People keep coming back to it. GTA, fantastic campaign-based game, but the whole role-play scene, the whole GTA RP, every time you play, it's different. Monster Hunter, finding those drops, finding those things, going through the game, each time it's different. That's like your ARPG-style game. You've got games like Ark Survived, Team Fortress, and then you've got other games like Warframe and Payday, again, these farming-based games like Destiny 2, And Payday 2 is like a heist-based operation game that each time it's different, it's unique. The same for Civ 6, the same for Football Manager 2022. And then you've got like games that are just historically good, like The Witcher 3 and Red Dead 2, right? They're all still up there, but hear this out. Right now, at the time of speaking, DayZ has more players than Halo Infinite. Euro Truck Simulator 2 has more players. Cookie Clicker right now at the time of recording has more players than Halo Infinite. Black Desert, Left 4 Dead 2, Super People, NBA, The Elder Scrolls, Valheim, because they're unique experiences. They're things that we've not experienced before. Every time you play a Left 4 Dead 2 mod, it's different. Every time you have a go at a truck simulation game, it's different. DayZ, what kind of stranger are you going to encounter? The nostalgia games are dying off, and that is all we've been churned out. It's churned out. Have some nostalgia, eat it up. And then they're acting surprised that it's not taken as well as it could do. And they come out and they say in their PR statements, oh, don't worry, we're going to fix the shop. As if the shop is the reason Halo Infinite died. As if the shop, for example, in Gears 5 is the reason the game died. Right? A lot of the time, almost all the time, the cancerous microtransactions, the awful stores, and some teams that do awful balance of games, that's not the thing that's killing the game. It's the general uninspired concept of the game. Stardew Valley, it's going to be a unique experience each time you play it. It's going to be different. If you've never played a game like Stardew Valley and you play it, you're going to be like, oh, here's all of these things I can learn, and here's all of these things I can do that I didn't know were possible in the medium of a video game. But when you go into these franchises that are decades old, and you go ahead and you churn out Call of Duty multiplayer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there any wonder that Vanguard basic multiplayer has died off? Why do you think that is? Because all of the unique experiences, the ninja diffuses, the shit talking in the lobby, the nukes that you got, we've done it all in Modern Warfare 2. And after 10 years, people are going, yo, that nostalgia drug's really wearing off now. I'm actually not feeling the franchise in general. That's why Warzone did so well, because Warzone, for all of its cheating, for all of its problems, it's a squad-based game that every time you play, it's different. No Warzone game is the same, is it? You play 10 hours of Warzone and you play 10 hours of Vanguard. Which person's going to get bored first? Generally the Vanguard player, because it's just the same thing over and over and over again. Whereas if you play a simulation game like Euro Truck Simulator 2, or you play even, let's go, Curveball Football Manager, every match is going to be different. Every simulation is going to be a little bit different. You play Halo Infinite multiplayer and you're like, okay, this is okay, but I've been there, done there, got the t-shirt in Halo 3. What is this offering me other than a grapple hook? The person that invented the grapple hook in Halo Infinite saved the game. And you've got to think about this, man. This game was like years and years and years in development, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in development. But it's not that great, is it? It's a bit like Breath of the Wild with guns, but not quite as good in the open world and not quite as good in the multiplayer. Like, if you think about it, be honest with yourself. Halo Infinite doesn't really do anything better than Halo 3 other than frame rate and FPS and resolution. That's it, isn't it? Really? So yeah, I'm going to get back to the video, but I just wanted to put this in at the beginning because I know people are limited on time, and that's the general concept of the video. So leave a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Thank you very much. And recently there has been such a massive influx, should I say, in the gaming industry of this notion that we should accept a product because they have perfected an older formula or that they are bringing back something we used to love, so we should be grateful. And there is this massive disconnect, I feel, that the developers aren't quite understanding what's happening. So let's talk about a modern example. Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite is a game that you would argue, oh, this is nothing to do with nostalgia. This is revolutionary. They've changed the way the game functions on a core note. It's no longer mission-based, it's open world. And it's got a free-to-play multiplayer, which is new. And it's nothing really to do with Halo 3. It's a new storyline, it's just the same franchise. But when you dig into it, you really begin to realize that a lot of these games, they are playing and they are tugging on your heartstring of nostalgia to get you to purchase their product. And they're then not understanding the reason why people are leaving the product. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up, if I go to Steam charts, and I go to Halo Infinite, and I look at their player base. Now, yes, this is a primarily Xbox-driven title, but a lot of people are playing this on Steam, do know, and it's always a good gauge. For example, the numbers of Counter-Strike, of Dota, of GTA, they're steady, right? So you can kind of get a gauge and a read on how a game's performing. It's not entirely accurate, but you can get a bit of a gauge. Apex Legends, PUBG, Dota 2, CSGO, even Rust, even Ark. These are top 10 games that roughly are maintaining their... They're not maintaining their peak, but their average player base is rock solid. Let's take Apex Legends. Since November 2020, it's pretty much averaged 130k people. Give or take 5k. PUBG has averaged, since July 2020, about 200,000 players, give or take. Dota, absolutely rock solid since April 2020, about 500,000 players, right? So if they were dropping dramatically, it gives you a bit of a read on the game. And if we go to Halo Infinite and we take a look, no game is going to maintain its peak. Absolutely not. But let's have a look. Its peak was 256,000 players. That's a big amount of players to play your game. And at the time of recording, on Saturday, the 15th of January, 2022, just, a month really after it launched, because it launched in December the 16th, which was early, it's got currently 11,000 people playing it. 11,000 people playing the game. It's an incredibly dramatic fall. Now, that's not to say it won't peak up higher, but this isn't losing half your player base, which normally is what happens off your peak. You normally lose about half and then you find your rock solid player base. This is a cataclysmic drop-off after just a month. Why do you think that is? If Halo Infinite was such a marvelous game, why are people leaving it? You will find these days when people tell you a game is superb, that they say it with an air of, well, if you don't agree with me, you're just wrong, you're not getting it. But the numbers don't lie, and the general consensus of the population doesn't lie. There are these people that go out of their way to churn out content for, say, let's say Splitgate, which is a Halo clone, and say, this is the next big thing, because they're trying to jump on that piece of pie that looks enticing and exciting, and they're not understanding what is going on. These companies are looking to cash in on your nostalgia. They're looking to make a product that has already been made before, which makes their job a million times easier, repurpose and repackage, and get you to go ahead and purchase it. Now, to note, not every single remaster or remake is a bad thing. Let's take Resident Evil. They've had some brilliant remakes, but that still doesn't mean that it's not uninspired, and it's not just a, hey, let's release this because we know people will buy it. I think that's what people aren't understanding. These remasters aren't coming out because the creative people behind the originals say, wow, I'd love to see how my game would look instead of pixels in fully fledged RTX, brilliant ray tracing and all of it. No, they're looking at it and going, there is a market out there, a nostalgic market, that it will be willing to buy this game, whether it's good or bad, because they yearn for that nostalgia. They want to travel back in time to a place where they can go, ah, I remember this. And that is exactly what Halo Infinite is. Halo Infinite's multiplayer might come out of the gate and people might say, incredible skill gap, it's going to have an esports, you can throw the flag and grapple hook. Halo Infinite is a poor imitation of previous Halo games with a smooth grappling hook. And I'm a bit disappointed in myself that maybe I didn't go as hard on the original review of Halo Infinite, because I'm getting tired and I'm getting sick of this nostalgic grab. Again, this isn't all to do with Halo Infinite, but it's a modern up and front example that we can talk about. I could pick a variety of games such as Splitgate. Splitgate is a completely uninspired game. It prays that people want the nostalgia of the Portal and the Halo. And when people go on it, they feel it's fresh, it's new, it's had innovation. But once that feeling of, oh, I've had my nostalgic fill, I've traveled back on the carousel and I've had that moment where I went back in time and I enjoyed it, but I realize I can't stay there. You can't stay in a state of nostalgia forever, or you're going to find yourself, you're getting lost, you're not right, you can't do that. You can't live in the past forever. And there's a reason that Splitgate has lost every single month chunk and chunk and chunk of its player base. We went from 70,000 to 1,000 now. Halo Infinite begins and people play it and they realize, wow, boy oh boy, did I miss playing the arena shooter Halo. And they go and play it and they play with their friends and they get their buddies on and they have a fantastic time. They play Capture the Flag. They play a few customs, which aren't even working, by the way. They don't play the campaign together because the co-op doesn't work. And they play a bit of the ranking system and they're calling out and they're four-shotting people and they've got the BRs and the rockets and they're having a grand old time. It feels good to link up with your friends and play a bit of Halo. It feels nostalgic. It feels right. That's what nostalgia does. Nostalgia makes it feel right because you're clouding, you're putting on those rose-tinted glasses and you're remembering, wow, yeah, Halo, man, Halo used to be such a good game. Resident Evil used to be such a good game, whatever it may be. Whatever game, whichever nostalgia piece they're trying to sell you, the Diablo 2 remake, whatever it may be, oh boy, this feels good. It's a sad cash grab because here's what Jerry Hook had to say on Halo Infinite. And just hear me out. Listen to this statement. Let me know what you think. Hi, we've been monitoring the discussions on the Halo shop, the bundles and pricing closely since launch. Using our data and community feedback, we're going to begin rolling out changes as to how we package and price our items, and it's going to start next week. Hooray, starting Tuesday, the shop experience will vary week to week. We are focused on reducing prices across the board and providing stronger values in our bundles. We will try new things throughout the rest of the season so we can continue to learn for the future. Please keep in mind that we want you to keep providing feedback coming out of this process. I hope to see you all next week. This is what, I know I keep saying it, and I know everyone's heard it before, but this is honestly just why I'm sticking to I don't know if anyone's been hanging out on my stream. I'm sticking to a very strange, weird variety of games that are just disconnected from mainstream, because this is what happens. It's a bunch of buzzwords. It's a bunch of metrics and jargon that is basically saying, hey, our sales data is showing that selling the color blue for $10 was resulting in too few sales. We have milked all of the people that will pay $10 for the color blue, and we're now going to sell the color blue for $5. We're going to be providing stronger values in our bundles to the community. That means so the community used to mean a bunch of people that loved your game, discussed it, made fan art, made montages, made content. Community doesn't mean that anymore. Community means potential purchasers, people that play our game that are willing to purchase things. That's community. And we can continue to learn from the future. There will be changes. This means, hey, we might bring a bundle out in the future that's shit and way too expensive, but we'll learn from it. This is not, think about it. Think about the reality of the situation. Their game has gone from 256,619 people playing it to 11,289. And they're not coming out saying, hey, we took out a load of game modes that you enjoy so we can sell them back to you through battle passes. Because that's what they do. They say, hey, we don't have Fiesta mode anymore available all the time. If you want to hop on and play Fiesta mode, you can do. No. Fiesta mode comes with a battle pass, and King of the Hill will return, and there'll probably be a get King of the Hill objectives in the battle pass and play King of the Hill, and it will be marketed and it will be churned out, and Kotaku and all of these games journalists will tell you that, hey, there's a reason to get back on Halo because they've added this new brilliant thing. But they're just taking them out of the game and repackaging them and reselling you this nostalgia, and it's not right. And there's a reason why this guy Jerry Hook is coming out and talking about the shop prices and all of that, because that's what matters. They don't really ask that almost all the population have stopped playing Halo Infinite, as long as if they can keep selling their things. They don't care. The bottom line is they need to sell stuff. They're a free-to-play game and they need to sell stuff. And they've probably got a load of money from the campaign. And to keep people happy, they want the money to keep rolling in. So rather than coming out and addressing, hey, why has everybody left our game for gaming reasons? They try to spin it as like, oh, don't worry, everyone. We know you're all getting pissed off with the shop. We're going to be fixing it. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you sit and fix your shop. Your player base is going to disappear and disappear and disappear unless you do something very fast. Because all you've done is you've got Halo, you've added a grapple hook, you've taken away all the things that actually made Halo, like the game modes and the customs and all of this stuff and the co-op campaign and the Forge mode. And then you've sold it back to us, and there's been a drug of nostalgia that got 256,000 people to play it. And now that they've had their bit of a fill and they've realized, okay, there's not actually that much there other than nostalgia, they've moved on. I want to ask you this question. Halo 3 just got closed down, right? Halo 3 just got closed down. And you're still able to play the Master Chief Collection. And, you know, the full graphics with all of the game modes available. What does the Master Chief Collection do worse than Halo Infinite? You know, the Master Chief Collection is just flat out a better set of products. You can queue all the games across all the game modes and get into specific things and have a bundle of fun. And those people that have been playing that for ages will have had their fill of nostalgia. They'll have played Halo Infinite and thought, there's really not that much difference here. It's just the fact it's new. So I don't want to sit and bash Halo Infinite for hours and hours. But the point is, I'm just getting completely tired of games companies just, they don't seem to care. They seem to quell outrage in the wrong ways about, hey, we're going to fix the shop. Hey, we're going to fix this. And it's like, hey, how about look at your product, you know? I mean, if I want to relate it back to Gears of War, you know, think about this. Everyone keeps talking about, hey, I really want a, you know, I really want, I've lost my train of thought here. This is the problem when you do them live. I really want a full remaster collection, a Marcus Phoenix collection, right? And here's the thing. The games are already 4K 60 FPS. So if you want to go play the campaigns, you can already go and do that, right? And what's going to happen is they'd spend tons of time on development, making it all fixed, making all the bugs fixed and blah, blah, blah. It would come out and people would have that bit of nostalgia through the campaign once and then nobody would touch them again, right? There's a reason people aren't going through the campaigns now. It's only when that nostalgia gets brought back to the front, you think to yourself, I could dip my toes back into that nostalgia. Now that it's re-released, yeah, I could go back for a run. You can go back right now and play them, but there's a reason you're not. And if they were to remaster all of the multiplayers, there would come this point where everybody would have a go on all of the multiplayers. People would be making YouTube videos saying, hey, Gears is back and all of this stuff, right? And after a few months, the player base would begin to wane because they'd had their fill of nostalgia. And then they'd begin to just pick which was the most popular. So all of the people, let's say on Gears 1, would be like, I'm not finding any games anymore. Where is the popular one in the Master Marcus Phoenix collection? Oh, it seems like everyone's on Gears 2 or Gears 3. And everybody would just go and play that. And all of the other ones would get left to die and unsupported. And it would just be a complete waste of time because all it is a big nostalgia grab. It's wild. It really is wild. I think about Nick Merckx, someone like Nick Merckx, you can see him tweeting here from playing customs in Gears 3 for $25 to competing in a gauntlet in front of 30,000 people for $50 to where he is now. And there are people that are nostalgic for that game, but they don't dip back into it because they know that that's all it is. It's nostalgic. A lot of people have recently been bashing content creators such as, say, Dr. Disrespect and other people for saying, oh, Halo needs a battle royale to survive. They all laughed. You don't understand Halo. Halo will survive without a battle royale. This isn't about, hey, go put a battle royale in Halo. What they're trying to say is, once the drug of nostalgia wears off, there needs to be something else that keeps you involved. Look at Fortnite. You could say, oh, it's a cartoony third-person shooter. Maybe they wanted some Gears of War experience, right? It came from the Gears devs, if you didn't know that. They made the original prototype. It's third-person. And, hey, maybe after a while that would have worn off, but it didn't wear off. The effect of Fortnite got bigger and bigger and bigger because they had the building mechanic. They had something innovative, something new. Not every games company that comes out with something innovative and new is going to hit it out of the park and create something staggeringly brilliant, right, that goes mainstream. But it feels like a lot of these companies have just blatantly stopped trying. They've stopped trying to even come up with ideas of newness. They're just skirting the lines of nostalgia and adding a few new pieces onto it and then slapping a shop onto it and saying the jobs are good and we're good to go. Halo Infinite is dropping fast because it's not getting content. And people will say, you don't understand how long it takes to make content. Maybe I don't. So maybe don't release the fucking game until there's all the content in there. And then you might say, well, if we were to wait for all of the game modes to be ready, no, you're wrong. The game modes are already in the game. I can play them in customs. They just haven't published them to a playlist. Now you can talk about co-op campaign. Would it be worth waiting an extra year for Halo to come out? Honestly, it would have made no bloody difference. Because here's the fact. It's just nostalgic. I'm really getting to the point here that a lot of these 10-year-old franchises, the Gears, the Halos, the CODs, even though COD has massively innovated with Warzone, I'm talking about its base multiplayer. A lot of these 10-plus-year-old franchises need to die because they're just a huge nostalgic piece that they can always rely on for sales. And as long as if people keep buying into the drug of nostalgia, and the reason people keep buying into the drug of nostalgia is because of that quote, it is a place where you feel like it was all brilliant, you were loved, it was fantastic, and you do want to dip your toes back into it, they'll keep churning them out. But these franchises aren't doing anything innovative anymore. Battlefield. Look at Battlefield. What has Battlefield done that's innovative? Has Battlefield improved since Bad Company 2? All right, Battlefield 3 was awesome when it came out on PC and you were fighting in the metro station. But has it done anything since Battlefield 3? Not really, because everybody that buys a Battlefield game is hoping they get the Battlefield 3 nostalgic feel. Battlefield 3 came out in 2011. Another decade has passed. It's not done much. A lot of them need to be put down and they need to be put on ice until they can think about how do we take the Battlefield experience and how do we take the experience that we know our players love and truly, truly bring them something new. Because the reason we all loved and fell in love with these franchises in the first place was because it was new. A lot of people hadn't played Halo 2. Halo 3 was like their first experience. And they were like, holy shit, this is amazing. Gears of War, wow, cover system, beautiful rain, Unreal technology, right? Call of Duty, whoa, you can customize your guns, get kill streaks, talk to the enemy, conquest and all of this stuff, right? In Battlefield and, you know, the big mode in Modern Warfare 2 that everyone used to noob tube on. It's eluding me the name. Somebody will know. They did something new, and we're just now been milked, and games have been resold to us in this nostalgic way. And I'm becoming completely disillusioned with games, and it's why I keep it's why it's sort of sparked my interest this year to go out of my way to keep playing other games and finding experiences for you that you might be able to enjoy. So I'm going to be going through my Steam library list, and I'm just going to be picking a random game and playing it. It doesn't matter if it's old or it doesn't matter if it's new. If I haven't played it, I'm going to play it for as long as I can. Look, if the game's terrible and I get bored of it, I'll tell you that, hey, I tried to play this game. It wasn't really for me, but here is how the game functions if it looks interesting for you. But I'm just tired of going into these nostalgic, dip your toes into this pure nostalgia land, and then 3 months later coming out of it and being like, well, that game's dead and it was always going to die because it was just a big nostalgia trip. So I'm going out of my way to try new games, new experiences, and I'm going to be showcasing them and having little chats like this. I don't know if this is a type of video you're going to enjoy. I know people like the humor videos or the Gears videos, but I think, again, the staple for my channel in 2022 is going to be these like face-to-camera opinion pieces, product reviews, and game reviews, and I'm just going to stick to those three things. It's just a bit... it's just a bit ridiculous, and I just wanted to speak on it. That I'm just tired of these games companies just doing the bare minimum, throwing a shop at it, and then putting out PR pieces that, hey, we're going to fix the shop. It's crazy, bro.